and welcome back to the Taylah Louise Budgets channel. You are here with me today for my 2025 financial reset, and I am so keen to film this video. I've spent days, weeks even thinking about what my finances are going to look like in 2025 and what I want my main focuses to be. So let's have a look. Today we plan to go through my 2024 reflections. We're gonna dive deep into what happened with my budget in 2024, because I think it is the first time I have ever tracked like literally every dollar, every cent that I have spent. So it is going to be really cool to have a look at that, as well as to see how I went with my 2024 goals, to talk about what my financial goals are for 2025, and to like set up my target bills budgeting system and all of my things for 2025. We are doing this video with Coplenty, so this is not a like sponsorship as such, but I do have an affiliate link down below, so you can get 10% off with code Taylah Louise 10 if you want to do your budget like I do my budget. Without further ado, let's get cracking. So my budget, my 2024 yearly reflection, let's have a look at my Coplenty template. I'm gonna pop it up on the screen now. Basically, I don't even know what to do. Keep in mind, I'm filming this on the 21st of December. So it is probably like a week short of all of my spendings for the year, but it's also like let's say $2,000 short of my income for the year, because I do have $2,000-ish to budget that I haven't yet. So if we think about what this week of the year is, that $2,000 is probably going to be spent anyway. So yeah, I think close enough is good enough in this regard. But we're going to look at my annual dashboard, and I haven't spent too much time this year looking at it because you kind of just go month by month with the Coplenty system. So you've seen me dive deep into this before and how it tracks, how you add in your transactions every like day of the month, and how I go in and do that. I love that it's on Google Sheets, because that means I can access it on my phone, on my computer, on my iPad, wherever I am that I want to track my spendings, I can do so easily. And it looks at my income and every kind of category that I spend in. And it gives me this really cool where most of my money goes pie chart for every month, which has been really cool to dive into in some of these videos. But today we actually get to see the annual version of that. And I don't want you to like see any numbers and think, oh my God, because we'll talk through what those numbers are and what they realistically mean. And that is one thing that I really like about this system, is you can kind of see, as I look into my annual budget for 2024, it says my total income is says my total income is 164K. That is absolutely not true. Don't overestimate what this is telling us, because I will delve into what the like realistic figures are. And I probably am gonna need my handy dandy clock, AKA calculator, next to me to help do that. So 2024 budget, like I said, the overview says that I earned 164K this year, but we know that's not true. It also says I spent 164K this year. And this is because I like to zero out my budget. So a lot of those expenses actually includes savings. So that is why we'll go through it. My total net worth, I'm not tracking at the moment, just because I found it really hard to do so with different strains of debt. And we're in a little bit of an awkward place. I also think it's hard to calculate net worth when I do an individual budget, but I share assets with my husband. So yeah, but we've got all of these different like trackers, different graphics, which is kind of cool. We can see the most money I spent was actually in May, which my income was apparently 50 grand that month. And that's why we can see that my total income is incorrect. And I'll go through what happened and why that is the case. But it also says I spent 52 grand that month. And that is also true in some ways as well. The next one over, total budget versus actual. This one is not going to be accurate because I don't often fill out my like expected tracker. I mainly have used this to look at like what money did I actually spend more than to plan my budget. And then total spending overview, we've got a pie chart and then a top 5 expenses as well. So this is really cool. So total spending overview, it shows us that the biggest slice of the pie, 29.7% of my income this year went to debt, 23% went to savings, 27% went to expenses, bills got 18 or almost 19%, and then subscriptions was just like measly little 0.6%. And I think those are the different like categories that it breaks down your budget into, which is again, cool. Top 5 expenses, And this is why my income amounts are so off. And it is because my top expense for the year was student loans. I was forced to pay off my student loans as a result of financial things to do with buying our house, settling on a block of land that still hasn't happened yet. And so because of that, 33K went to student loans. That cleared my student loan debt. Then we have 30K that went to the joint account for the house. So that is the current house I'm living in, the mortgage and sinking funds and bills, expenses related to that. Next up is 23.6 on sinking funds. So that is basically savings, but a lot of that went into sinking funds and came out of sinking funds as well. So basically the way that I budget, money that goes into sinking funds is seen as an expense for sinking funds, which is obviously a version of savings. But when it's spent in different categories. So I don't put money into sinking funds and take it out of sinking funds. I put it into sinking funds. I spend it as different categories so I can see where I'm actually spending the money. And then I put that money that I spent out of sinking funds as income, which is again why my income is not valid. And we can work out what the accurate figure is shortly. Car loan got almost 16K, and that is because I did pay off my car loan this year. Again, I had to for house purposes. And then wedding. So I did get married this year, and that isn't as costly as you would think because we eloped. No guest elopement, which is kind of cool. So yeah, we spent 8.5 grand. Keep in mind, even though this is an individual budget, when it came to wedding expenses, I really wanted to track how much we spent on our wedding. And so all of the wedding expenses are tracked here. It's not just half of them, but then the money that I got for my other half to help fund those came through as income. So I tracked money that he had to give me to help pay for the wedding as income. And again, that is yet another reason why my total income figure is swayed. So one, it's swayed because the money that I save, such as sinking funds, and then later spend as different things, is tracked as income. So it's like my savings paying me, which obviously I didn't get paid that money twice. I didn't get paid it when I saved it and then get paid it when I used it. That doesn't make sense. So that sways it, as well as obviously the wedding funds where my other half transferred me money to help pay for those expenses. So that's not technically income. I didn't earn that money. It was just that was how I could track more accurately what we were spending. So those are two reasons. And then the student loans and the car loan are the other two kind of big ones that sway it. And again, I'll get to that when we talk about the monthly figures, I think. So there's lots of numbers on here. And I think what's really interesting, okay, so it says income 164K. Again, we'll look at that differently and later. Bills, I spent almost 31 grand on bills. So it's 31 grand. Most of that is the mortgage. But we can see that there's 1 month where that was pretty much nothing. And that is because we didn't pay the mortgage in May. We had saved up a month ahead fund and we used that in May because that was the month that we were like refinancing and settling. And we had some other like costly things going on. So we decided to use our month ahead fund to pay our mortgage in the month of May. So again, that's why that is the case. Subscriptions and memberships. Some of this is like my lashes, but most of it is just like literally subscriptions. That was around $1,000 for the year. Not too bad. Other expenses, which is pretty much just any other money that I spend, all of that sinking fund money that I spent, etc. That's 45 grand. So as we can see, so we put 23 grand into sinking funds, but if we actually look at expenses, we spent 45 grand. So obviously some of those expenses are like weekly expenses, like a lot of them are groceries and things like that that never went in sinking funds to begin with. But a lot of that money is spent. If we look at my other videos where we can see what money I have in my sinking funds binder, it's nowhere near the 20K mark, right? There's not even $1,000 in any one category. There's not even $500 in any one category at the moment. So yeah, that money, most of that money is actually now spent. Then if we look at savings, so it says 38K is in savings. And again, you can think about that in terms of like savings challenges where that money was then reallocated to sinking funds and other things, the wedding, our honeymoon. A lot of that money is now spent. And then yeah, debt. We can look at, so the first couple of months of the year, I was paying about $470 towards debt, not including the mortgage. And then in May, 47K went to debt because that was the month that we had to pay everything off. And that is also the month that we didn't pay our mortgage. We used our month ahead fund because 47 grand, that's just the amount of money I had to pay off of debt. That does not include the money that my husband had to pay off of debt. So yes. Now, income overview. So biggest slice of the pie, 33% went to sinking funds. Wait, Oh, there we go. 33% of my income came from sinking funds. And part of that would be because I had been saving up to pay off my car loan. So that large expense, which was paying off my car loan, which was almost 16 grand, that would have come straight from sinking funds. So that ups that amount. I hate that it's not in order, but 19% is the next one, which is paycheck 1, followed by 19% for paycheck 2. So that is my salary. I just split the fact that I get paid fortnightly just so I can see the difference and track it as it comes in. So yeah, if you actually add those together, it is the biggest slice of the pie. 19.3 plus 18.7. So yeah, that's 38% is just my salary. So yeah, that technically income-wise is the largest slice of the pie. Bonus salary is 3.2, so that's any extras I was paid. Target bills is 2.8. Again, that is money that I have saved previously into my target bills fund, and then I'm using to pay my bills for the month. So yeah, it's me spending my savings, not technically income. Then we have, I'm just kind of working around the circle now. So Taylah Louise budget was 0.6. So that is just like any money that I earned doing this. Grant, so this is money that my other half gave me, is 13.7. And this is again why it's so why my income is so impacted. So if we look at 164K of income, we can see that my partner has transferred me 22.5 grand this year. And that is not him paying me. That is just money that transferred between us and the way that I was able to track spending. So obviously some of that was his half of our wedding fund. And then a large portion of that was him helping me pay off my debt. And that is the main reason why I was like, just hold your horses. Let's talk about it later. Tax return was 3.7%. It was a large tax return this year, and that is because I paid off my student loans before tax time. I had to pay off the full amount, and then everything that had been withheld in the previous 9 months of having HECS withheld then got given back to me. So I didn't actually get a $6,000 tax return. I just got my money that had been put aside for student loans back because I'd already paid it off in full. And then surveys was like tiny. It's like $300 from surveys. Pracky, 408, QCAA, 6 grand. So just the extra things that I did to earn extra money. One of my goals for the year that you'll see shortly was that I wanted to earn 5K of extra income. So I cleared that easily just with like QCAA money, just extra work on the side. And that is everything that's being shown there. I love this because it really gives you a clear picture of where most of your money is coming from. And what I can see from this is that I'm spending too much of my savings, because my sinking funds is way too big a portion of the pie. That means that the money that even though sinking funds are kind of designed to be spent, I want that to be a smaller piece of the pie next year. I'm not expecting it to not be a significant portion, because obviously you do save money to spend it, but we can do better. Bills overview, we can see that May is where it drops off, and that's the month that we didn't pay our mortgage. Subscriptions and memberships kind of changes because I stopped getting my lashes done and started getting them done again, and that kind of changes that. Debt overview, we can see I stopped paying debt in May when I did the lump sum and paid it off. And that doesn't mean I don't have debt. I have house debt, but that's just considered a bill to me because, you know, it would be rent or it would be a mortgage. So it is what it is. Expenses overview, it doesn't really tell me a story. Like expenses overview, the fact that that spiked in September, that is our honeymoon. So that's kind of not surprising. I don't really know. Expenses overview probably is high in July because I got that tax return and then budgeted that out. But yeah, I don't really think it tells me too much. This is where we can get into where most of my money goes. And we kind of spoke about the first 5 already, which were student loans. And this is the crux of why I wanted to do this, to see where am I spending my money and does it align with my goals. So where most of my money goes, the first one is student loans, 33K. Like I said, I want to have a look at that month. Was that May? I'm going to go to May for a second just to show you. So 28K of sinking funds was spent in the month of May. And that is because I pretty much cleared out my car loan fund because I'd been saving up to pay off my car loan, and I had to pay off my car loan that month. But I also cleared out most of my sinking funds, including my whole emergency fund and most of my envelopes, to scrounge up extra money to help pay off my student loans, because our broker told me I needed to pay both off. And obviously I had already been planning to pay my car loan off early, so I had most of that money saved, but I wasn't expecting to pay off. How much did we have to pay off? Student loans, 33K. That was not money that I was planning on paying off. I was expecting that to come out as HECS from my paychecks, but because of our borrowing power, we had to pay it off. So I did have to borrow 20 grand from my other half, and I will be paying him back that money. We have agreements and things about how that will happen, but this is what I mean, is it's not real income. It's just 20 grand that I borrowed. May was a very interesting month in that regard. So yeah, if I go back to my annual dashboard, so that sways a lot of this, and that is okay. Like this doesn't need to look normal. No year is going to be normal. Like next year, I'm not going to get married and go on a honeymoon and have to pay off my student loans, my car loan, because they don't exist anymore. But next year might have different things. You know, I might have a baby next year. We'll see. I might buy a puppy next year. Very likely. So every year has different things, but this, where most of my money goes, like tells that story. And I love that I can look at that and reflect on that now. So yeah, student loans, $33,000. Joint account, house expenses, 30 grand. I'm a homeowner. I should expect that to be in my top 5. Sinking funds, 23 grand. I am grateful that this is so high up there, because it means that I am prioritizing putting money aside for future expenses. Like I said, I couldn't have spent 28K of sinking funds in May if I hadn't previously put lots of money into my sinking funds. I hope that makes sense, because that aligns with my priorities, right? Like saving for my future and then using that money in the future when things come up. Like that is why we do this. I'm not someone that wants to have like 150 grand just sitting in my account doing nothing and not working for me in any way. Like, I mean, obviously it'd be great to have 150K in the bank, but I don't just want to save to sit on that cash. I want to save to live my life. Car loan, almost 16 grand, paid that off. Wonderful. Wedding, just over 8.5 grand. Cool. We thought we'd spend between 8 and 10. So happy with that. Travel, just under 8.5. Again, that's my half of doing a 3-week Japan trip for our honeymoon. No regrets. My future fund for next year will probably either be saving for another international trip or baby expenses, depending what comes first. So yeah, we'll see. Challenges, almost 6.5 grand. So almost 6.5 grand I saved and put aside for savings challenges. Wonderful. 6,100 for target bills. So that is, you know, money that I've put aside for bills. Wonderful. That's just saving. So target bills category and challenges category and sinking funds category is money that is in the savings area of my budget, which means that all those 3 are in the top 10. So that is showing that I am putting money aside for future things. Like I said though, like those are bulk, lots of categories together. When it's spent in separate categories, which is why the savings amount seems so much higher than the spending amount, even though it probably evens out. Groceries is the next highest one at just over 4.5 grand, which is probably too high because we're a household of 2. My partner has paid for most of our foods and he also pays for groceries sometimes. So we're probably spending too much money on groceries, but we eat well, so whatever. Bernie, rest in peace, my little baby girl. Oh my God, every time I mention her in a video, it is still very raw in this household. And I really wish she could be part of my expenses next year. But we will probably get another puppy. She's in my top 10, right? And that aligns with my priorities. She lived a wonderful life and a long life for a dog. She met her life expectancy. So I did not expect that to hit me so hard. Moving on to car. So this is just like my maintenance expenses for a car, almost 2.5 grand. Tech was over 2 grand. That was because I bought a new phone this year. Eating out. So this is just like takeaway, dining, all of those things, 2 grand. Sport, 2 grand. A lot of that is supplements, accessories, activewear, etc. Not mad. I am a gym buff now. It is what it is. I actually have a huge activewear collection. You would know one of my weaknesses is clothes, particularly sports clothes, and I have too many t-shirts like this. I now have too many sets of activewear that I keep on having to rearrange my wardrobe upstairs because I have too many. Beauty 1.7. I did laser this year and I have no regrets. I did underarms and Brazilian and it is the best decision I've ever made. And so next year I am doing legs and I've already bought 6 more services of that. So I'm doing half legs. And yeah, if you have ever considered it, definitely save it. I have known for years that I've wanted to do it, but I wanted to wait until I was in a more financially stable place to do it. And yeah, like I said, no regrets. Work/teach is 1,700. So that is mainly union fees, registration. What else? Why is that so high? Oh, that would be 2 years worth of union fees, I imagine, because I've already paid next year's. Annual 2025, 1,600, because yeah, we've started to put money towards next year's annual expenses. I think we've got about $1,000 sitting there. Clothes, 1,500. It's actually not that bad. 1,579 divided by 12. I know I spend it in like lump sums. That's about $130 a month on clothes. I guess that's kind of high. Let's decrease that next year. If I could get that to $1,000, I'd be happy. Christmas, 1,500, happy with that. Love my family to bits. Fuel, 1,200, not bad, I don't drive much. Spending, this is just like miscellaneous spending, just over 1,000, happy with that. Health, 900, that is some massages, that is dental work, that is glasses for me and my other half. I paid his out of pocket too because he pays for our health fund every fortnight. It's the least I could do. What else did I pay for health-wise this year? I'm sure there were other kind of health expenses, medications, things like that will come out of health as well. Gifts, almost 700, not bad. Gym, just over 500, happy with that. I actually probably will spend a lot more in that category next year. I am thinking about joining a much more expensive gym that has recovery center. Roundup is over 500. Cool, we're almost finished that $1,000 challenge. Did we start that last year? We must have. Wow, it's taken a long time. Lashes, just under 500. That should go down next year, but lashes will also include brows. I used to get lash extensions, but my eyes just were getting worse and worse with reacting to the glue. I did love having them, and I felt very put together by having them, and my other half was very much like, come on, just do it for you. But I am just getting lash lift and tint and brow tint now. So that is going to be $125 each time, and I'm budgeting that every month, but it won't happen monthly. It'll be a little bit less frequently than that. So much cheaper than doing lash extensions for $75 a fortnight. Oh, beauty, 1,700. I forgot that I also get my teeth whitened once a year. That is also part of beauty. I always do it in September around my birthday time, and it worked out perfectly this year. I did it at the end of August to get it done just before the wedding, but I do think it's good. Again, it's just like that one little thing. Beauty expenses, I am considering looking into preventative Botox. Nothing crazy, like I'm not gonna get my lips filled and everything filled or anything like that. But I am thinking, I am 27 now, and I would like to stay youthful as long as possible. And I am thinking, I do have forehead lines. I don't know if you can really see them. I don't wear makeup, so I do want to look after my appearance as much as possible. I do think if I went and got a consult, they would say that I should do my crow's feet, but also if I go like this, you can see I do have lots of lines that form there, and both my mother and my father have pretty bad lines, but I do have constant indentations there. So that might be something I actually think after I finish my laser journey, that might be something that I look into starting, is doing some preventative Botox. Again, not anything fillery, not anything too crazy, but just prevention. I don't know if that's taboo, and to be honest, I don't care. I'm not asking for advice. That was lashes. So coffee, just over 400. That is a priority to myself and my husband. Events was 370. I'm not that social, as you can see. Phone, that's just my standard phone bill, 300. I've got a really cheap one. $300 on Boo, that includes his Christmas present. YouTube, 229. We're starting to get into bills and things. Books was about 190. Stan, 160, again, bills. Patreon, 130. $90 to emergency fund. This is going to be much higher next year. Home was 64. iCloud. Gambling was not much. I spent a little bit on the Mum Cup. And then I think that's it. Yeah, cool. Okay, I am going to have to change some of those expenses for next year, because we can see there are some things that I didn't spend at all or didn't track. Like miscellaneous, for example, is a bit dumb because I was just putting that in the spending category. Audible, I have renewed that prescription, us or my half. I didn't put that down as that. It would just be in the category of spending that it is, and it was just my contribution to it. Business, I didn't spend anything. Future, I save into future, but I don't spend out of future, because future is a sinking fund, but when I spend it, I spent it in like wedding, or I spent it in like travel. That's why it looks like that. Tattoo, I didn't get one. I'm not really planning to get one anytime soon. Adulting, That's meant to be just for like random expenses that don't have another category, but I just didn't have any this year. And then extra mortgage payments, hopefully that is higher next year because I have some goals to do that. Speaking of which, we're gonna have a quick look at my annual goals dashboard. This is from Press Reset, and my code is Taylah20 for 20% off, I believe. I'll put it on the screen if it's different. I wanted to add 1K to emergency fund, but we had to clear it out to pay debt, earn 5K extra income. I did that. Pay off car loan. I did that. Sell land. We don't even have it yet to be able to put it on the market to sell it, and save for wedding and honeymoon. I did that. Wonderful. Quickly then, we should look at my 2025 goals, which I've set up. There we go. So 2025 finance goals, add 1K to emergency fund. So that is add 1K additional to what should have been in it by the end of 2024. Add 3K extra income, or earn rather than add. Earn 3K of extra income. I've limited this a little bit this year because I don't want to work so hard. I want to love my life. I do want to sell that land though, so that goal is rolling over. I want to pay off an extra 10K of mortgage, and that is not independently, that is myself and my husband. And then fully fund 2026 annual. So right now I think I've got $1,000 in my 2025 annual fund, but fully funded would be $3,000. I want to be in a place where that is fully funded moving into 2026. So that's the financial goals side of things. And I need a sip of coffee because this is a lot of talking and this is a freaking long video. But all in all, I'm very happy with that. I feel like it aligns. It's been a very tumultuous year financially, but I think a very needed year. It has set the basis of what is financial freedom. So yeah, I'm excited about that. Now, I will do a reminder now and probably again at the end as well, but this is just affiliate. This video is not sponsored. But if you want to use Coplenty, Taylah Louise 10 for 10% off. And the budget layout that I just went through that I use is called the Yearly Budget Layout version 2.0. That's the one that I have, and that's the one that I use. I learned about it from Smiley Citrus. But now we are going to set up my 2025 template, I think. I think that's what we will do. I really want to get to my target bills and check in on my adult annual and adulting binder and practice my 2025 budget. But I think setting this up is more important for this video because the other stuff with cash, I could potentially do in a future stuffing video. I could do that in like the start of January, and maybe I will. Annual total. So I need to actually look at the instructions. I just thought it would be cool to go through this with you for if you do decide to get this and you're like, how do I set it up though? There's some really cool instructions. There's a cool tutorial. I should know how to do it. Should be able to work my way around it because I've done it before. This ain't my first rodeo. But it says go to annual totals tab, add budget name for the different categories. So income, bills, subscriptions, expenses, savings, and debt. So if I do go to the annual totals, income, so these are going to be the categories. So this year, I should just be able to copy and paste them, but we'll reflect on them. So this year I looked at target bills, which again, that is the money that was already put aside for bills, paycheck 1, paycheck 2, bonus salary. So that's going to be any additional money that I get from my paychecks other than just the standard paycheck. So that is all fine and good to track as that. Sinking funds, that is like money spending from sinking funds. QCAA will probably also be the same. Pracky, surveys, I feel like that can be other. Tax return, I will leave that. Interest, that's gonna be other. Grant, so any money I get from my husband, I'm gonna leave that. And then other and Taylah Louise budgets. And then I'm gonna go, yeah, Taylah Louise budgets. Maybe I should put grant afterwards. Grant can go here, and then other can go there. So target bills should go down as well. This year I'm gonna have paycheck 1, paycheck 2, bonus salary income, target bills, because that's savings that I'm spending, sinking funds, because that's savings that I'm spending. Then we're looking at other forms of income. So QCAA, Pracky, they're kind of the two main areas that I would earn money from secondary, like teaching stuff. Tax return, I want to track that separately because I like being able to go and look back at exactly how much I earn from that. Taylah Louise budgets, that's like any income stream from this. I track that independently and broken down separately. Grant, so any money I have to get from my husband, and then other is just going to cover anything else. I feel like that's good. It's a little bit more simplified. And this is making me realize that I thought I was done looking at my 2024 budget, but I thought you might be interested to see, we said that my income total was inaccurate at 164. And we talked about why that is, but I'm gonna go 164,800 on my calculator on the clock. And if we have a look at the actual income streams, this is in the annual totals tab. I can actually see the actual amounts from the different income streams. So what I'm gonna do, and I know that this is awkward because we just started the 2025 budget and I'm going back, but again, I think it's worth it. So if we look at target bills, remember that was savings that I spent. So if I minus that off my income and then go paycheck 1, paycheck 2 can stay. Then the next one is bonus salary, that can stay. Then the next one is sinking funds, so 54,890 can minus off, because again, that's not real money that I earned. It's just spending savings. QCAA can stay. Pracky can stay. Surveys can stay. Tax return, that can stay. I didn't track any interest, so I'm glad I took that out for 2025. Then grant, so money from my other half, that's not real income, so that can come off. Other can stay. And then Taylah Louise budgets can stay. Okay, 82,600. So that is the accurate total of how much income I earned this year. I'm actually gonna write that there. Actual total, 82,600. I am projected to earn over 100K this year in 2025. So that'll be interesting to see. But yeah, my actual total was 82 grand, which is literally half the amount that's actually chucked on there, which is why I told you not to think that that was an accurate total. I ain't that rich. I ain't that rich. Okay, moving back to 2025 budget. Like I said, I'm happy with those categories for income. Then we move down to bills. And again, I'll have a look at what ones I tracked in 2024. Because do I want all my target bills categories to be there rather than split up between bills and subscriptions? That's the hard part, because some of my subscriptions, I feel like bills should be non-negotiable, subscriptions should be cancelable if we talk about a bare-boned budget. So maybe I'll differ this. So joint account, house, phone, maybe I'll move them back up here for a second, just so that I can have this empty. So subscriptions wise, if I look through my target bills, so I've got TV, YouTube first. So that's gonna be Stan and YouTube Premium. And then we've got phone, which I'm gonna count as a bill because I have to have that. Subscriptions wise, iCloud and Patreon. So gym membership, is that a subscription or a bill? I'm gonna count it as a bill. So those ones are accounted for. Lashes is definitely a subscription because I could cancel that. And lashes is gonna count my lash lift and brow tin. I know that technically it's beauty though. Even though I'm gonna save for it as a bill, I'm not gonna track it as a bill. It's gonna come out of beauty, the sinking fund of beauty. I think that makes more sense than tracking lashes and beauty separately. Okay, so that's not gonna be spent as a bill or subscription. It's just gonna be spent as an expense for beauty. Yeah. Nails, I'm gonna save for again because I've started getting acrylics done again, just because mine were getting so weak and frail from me doing them. Not to say that I plan to do that every month, but I found a lady that is much more affordable. And so yeah, I'm enjoying getting them done again for now. So I'm planning to save for it so that I can get it done. And if I don't spend it, I can move that money elsewhere. Audible is a subscription. And that's going back to a monthly payment as opposed to the yearly that I was doing previously. Bills, miscellaneous bills, and then annual of 2026 is going to be savings. Okay, so that's how we're going to do it. So the things that I'm counting as bills in 2025 are my mortgage, sinking funds, and actual bills associated with my house, my phone bill, my gym membership, and then obviously I have a miscellaneous category just in case anything else pops up. Subscriptions wise, Stan, YouTube Premium, iCloud, Patreon, Audible. We may add Netflix into that. We shall see. Expenses this time, rather than having to move them all. I'm just gonna go through and delete the ones I don't wanna track anymore, and then we can update them after. So groceries, we actually call Shopee. That's what it is in my wallet. So we're gonna leave it as that. I'm not gonna track coffee separately because I don't actually stuff it separately. Eating out is gonna remain. Fuel is Zoom Zoom. Should I just call it fuel anyway? Yeah, I'm just gonna call it fuel anyway. Shopee should stay as groceries then. Yeah, screw it. Okay, even though the envelopes say different things, we're gonna track it as what it is. Us or my half we didn't use this year, so I'm not gonna use it next year. Home. My money spent on my home should be coming out of my home sinking funds. So, and I don't think I really tracked anything as home anyway, so we'll leave that. If I do spend anything on the home that I count as my expense and not a joint expense, it can be spending, which is just gonna be kind of like miscellaneous. Clothes separately, books. can just be spending. It doesn't seem like I spend that much on books separately to require spending it that way. Beauty is going to remain. Sport. I think the envelope is actually called fitness. So I'm going to call it fitness. Business, that's Taylah Louise budgets. I'm going to leave that. Travel, tech, health, future. We don't track anything as spent as future. We only save as future. So get rid of that. Boo can change to Huband because that's what I call him now. I deleted Bernie, but we will need to add a category for Doggo if we get another dog this year. Gifts, Christmas events, tattoo, gamble. Gamble can just be miscellaneous spending. Tattoo, if I get one, it can be miscellaneous spending. We want to simplify these categories because I don't need to track how much I spend on tattoos because if I get one, it'll be one. And I don't plan to. Events will remain though. Adulting, that can just be miscellaneous because if it's a bill, it'll be in the miscellaneous bills category, not adulting anyway. Wedding, we won't be having one of those. Work/teach, that can remain. Car. All right. Cool. So, like I said, now I can move some of these up and I'm going to put Doggo under husband. Why does it look like that? Doggo, because I want to save up for dog anyway. Okay. And then if I come up with anything else, it can be added to the bottom. But I think that's good. I haven't saved anything. I removed future, didn't I? I think I still want it. I'm going to call it future, but really it's going to be the baby fund. And I'm going to write baby. I'm going to manifest that I fall pregnant next year. Okay. Savings. So target bills, we are going to be saving for that. Annual is going to be annual 2025 for now, but I want to move these down because I want to add in an annual 2026 as well. Oh. Or do I just call it annual? I think I just call it annual and then it's going to fully fund 2025 and then it'll move into saving for next year once I fully fund it. I think that'll track better when it comes to my overall savings rather than having them as two separate categories that save less. It's better to see how much I put towards my annual bills total, regardless of what year that money's going to be spent in. I hope that makes sense. Emergency is going to remain. Cushion, I'm not going to worry about because I've noticed this year that I don't actually care if I don't track every single cent because it's kind of impossible. You will always make errors. And I think having cushion on there makes me feel like I should perfectly zero out every budget, but it just doesn't work like that. So I'm trying to not be such a perfectionist. So I'm removing that. Challenges, I need to change that to being called savings challenges because every time I type it in, I write savings and then a backspace and have to just write challenges. So savings challenges, sinking funds. So that is when I budget money towards the categories in my sinking fund envelopes that then gets spent as these expenses. So that's going to remain. And then roundup challenge is still ongoing for now. And then obviously if I start other things that I want to save for separately to those, I can update that as is. And then debt, we're just going to put in extra mortgage because I want to pay off extra mortgage. Payments next year, but I don't have a car loan and I don't have student loans anymore, which is cool. But that is set up then. So then if I look at January, for instance, we can see from January 1, I haven't got anything in here, but that is pre-populated. And that is the cool thing about these. So it's pre-populated. All of those income streams that I just put are naturally in here. All of the bills, all of the subscriptions, all of those expenses, savings and debt. And then as January starts, I can just fill out the transactions tracker and it'll all come up. And if I show you, so if I go actual paycheck, $28.45 is my current salary, fortnightly salary. So then that comes up as $2,845 left to spend. Budget, I usually put, I'm going to do the actual column. So I usually put 1,400. Oops. See, this is the thing. So normally I put $1,400 to my joint account. And if I put that there as a budget, it won't change this amount, or it'll tell me the prediction of what I'll have left if that is the case. But if I actually want to change it here as an actual and spent, we're just going to 1/1 January 1st. Say I put on January 1st, I put $1,400 as a transaction into the joint account, and I can write mortgage in the description if I want to describe what that was for. Then it will populate the actual column. So yeah, I think that's kind of cool. I don't actually need to do that, but I just love that I can just come in here and fill this out. and then it'll like populate everything. Yeah, awesome. So I'm excited to do that in 2025. 48 minutes of filming. So that was kind of my rundown, me setting up my 2025 budget Excel spreadsheet. And like I said, we'll do some of the other things separately at the start of January, which I think makes more sense anyway. It gives me more time to sit with what I have planned. And then just, yeah, my first setting up my budget for January video will be a lot more hands-on, which is good anyway, because I would have had to change like the tripod that you're on to my overhead to do some handwriting stuff anyway, which is just a different style of video than this one. Not everyone's here for this chatty stuff, but they might want to see the more realistic, how do I set up my Target Bills stuff, which will come, because if you want to go to my Etsy store and purchase my Target Bills tracker, I'll show you what it is. My Target Bills tracker. So this table that I use, and I'll put all of my categories and expenses down the side. And as I save for it, through save for it ahead, I get to tick it off. So even though it'll be January, I might have put money aside that's ready to pay off the like March of that bill. And so that is what I like to do to get ahead of my bills. And like I said, I'll go through that in depth in another video, because this one is just getting far too long. But I'm gonna cheers my coffee and I'm gonna go rest my voice. So thank you so much for watching this video. Comment down below your largest financial goal for 2025. I'm gonna pick one of mine. My largest financial goal for 2025, not largest as in monetarily, but my most important to me financial goal for 2025 is going to be adding 1K to my emergency fund. Because if I double check, that means that my emergency fund, if I hit my emergency fund goal, I'll have 5K. And yeah, that is my largest priority in 2025, is to have 5K in my emergency fund. I'm happy with that. So please go down below, click like, subscribe, and hit the bell to be notified every single time I upload. I'll see you in my next one. Bye.